Angler X on the spot.
Look at this! Oh, she put up such a fight!
Beautiful crappie.
Best fish of the day. It's another really nice fish. I'd have a salmon on here.
Got him. Big fish. Oh my gosh. Look at that bird.
Angler X. Honest, informative, real multi-species angling. What's up everybody, and welcome to another Angler X video. In this week's video, we're heading out on the Mississippi River in search of crappies. Now we're going to be targeting crappies on steep banks with moderate current and some large trees. I haven't been out crappie fishing this year, so I'm going to be searching for them, but I've got a good feeling we're going to find some fish today. Now, the techniques I'm going to be using is mainly a slip bobber and minnow, and the way I rig my slip bobber is I use treble hooks because I think they give a better percentage of hookups, and this one's a number 12 treble hook by Mustad. And then just up from the treble hook, maybe 6 to 8 inches, I put the split shots. Now the number of split shots that you need to use is really dependent on your bobber. If your bobber lays flat in the water when you cast out, then you probably need more weight. Once that bobber starts sitting upright, then you know you have enough sinkers on. And I always use a slip bobber setup because it really gives you flexibility on how deep you can fish. Just use one of these standard tie-on, pre-tied bobber stops that you can buy at the store, and they work pretty slick. And then we'll be changing depths and kind of trying to hone in exactly where these fish are and how they're relating to the cover. Let's get out there, catch a few crappies. I think you're gonna love this episode. There we go. It didn't take long. Oh, and he's off. That was our first crappie of the day. We might be on him here. Had my bobber stop set pretty deep, and that fish hit immediately. It didn't even have time to sink, so that tells me the fish are potentially up a little higher than what I initially set my bobber stop for. So I will adjust and see if that helps. There we go, beautiful crappie. It's our first decent fish of the day. Nice fish. I'll get him back. We're not keeping any fish, so just a little catch and release. Crappie fishing today. It's a good start. You can see this log sticking up right here. I'm right next to it, and that's where I caught that last crappie. You can see the duckweed building up. That gives them a little more overhead cover. We're actually in 13 feet of water right here, but the current is such that it builds up this duckweed along this shoreline. And in past years, there's been way too much current going through here. But these areas that typically would be full of current and are now slow enough where they're gonna hold crappies. And that's kind of the pattern we're going after today. I'm going with the slip bobber approach. One, it's effective. Two, I'm able to dip around in these patches of weeds and not get hung up. If I did have a little bit clearer water, I could drag a jig through some of these spots and probably catch fish that way. But just to try and locate some fish, we're gonna poke around with the bobber system. And if we do come onto some fish where it is a little clearer, we can throw a jig as well. But it's probably gonna be mostly slip bobber type fishing today, just because of the amount of weeds flowing through here. There's a fish. This feels like a good one. Nice crappie. Nice crappie. There we go, guys. It's been kind of slow this evening. Caught a crappie here and there, but nothing real consistent. This is probably the best looking tree we've tried tonight. And hopefully there's a few more on this tree, but so far so good. We'll get him back. Fish. There we go, another crappie. Nice fish. There we go. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Got him right up in that heavy tree right there. Been battling with weeds all the way down this shoreline and finally got to a tree that's not full of weeds. And so far, a couple good crappies out of there. On the bobber and minnow setup. Get him back. There's a fish. There he is. Nice fish. A nice crappie. Go, guys. Not a giant by any means, but nice fish. Get him back. So I'm just casting out. I got a kind of an old tree here. It's got nice big limbs, and they're deep down into this hole on a steep bank. There's just a little bit of current coming through here. I'm sitting in about 15 feet of water right here, but I'm casting my bobber next to the trees and it's just floating ever so slowly down the tree. And I've gotten 2 bites right in here and then 1 back in here. Rock bass, what are you doing in there? Little Rocky. Yeah, look at the red eye on that thing, that is cool. That'd be good flathead bait right there. Fish on. They're nice crappie. Right up against that big tree right there. So one of the patterns I'm starting to see is that the bigger trees are holding the crappies. Oh, very nice. Beautiful fish. We'll get him back. There's a bite. On. Nice crappie. Nice fish. There we go. Beauty. Very nice. finding that I'm having to get really close to the timber to get these fish to bite. They aren't hanging out off the wood. They're right up against it. So it's a matter of kind of getting some casts in there, setting your bobber depth, and you might get a few snags, but you got to adjust as you go and find the right depth that's going to get you over the snags and get you into these fish. But that's a beauty. We'll let him go. They definitely want it right next to the tree. They aren't out in the open water. They're clearly relating to the cover, which crappies do. Here's one. Nice fish. That's not a crappie. That's a smallmouth. They gotta eat too, as you know. There's one right away. And that one's a crappie. There we go. Now we're on them. Ow. Oh, there's fish. There we go. Come on, take it, take it, take it, take it, take it, take it. On. Good fish. Good crappie. Nice. Oh, another tank. Just nice thick fish. There we go. Just solid crappie right there. Beautiful fish. Been hooking these minnows just behind the dorsal fin and the top side of the back. Right about there. And they kind of hang like that. And they stay pretty lively that way. Fish on. Nice crappie. There we go. Beauty. Took a while to get him to bite, but finally got him. Barely had him hooked. It's a nice fish. We'll get him back. See where I casted there, right behind the back side of that tree. Got my last two nicer fish right behind that tree. It's kind of an iffy place to cast, so you got to get them out of there. They seem to be in there. There we go. Oh, there's a little crappie. That is bait. Big crappie. Oh, big crappie. Look at that guy. Oh, what a pig. That was a bass at first. Nice fish. And he choked it. There we go. Nice release. Beautiful fish. Here we go, guys. Our best crappie of the day. Hope you guys enjoyed today's video. I had a blast going after these crappies. Look for deep shorelines with a little bit of current and a lot of down timber, and then just pop around with these slip bobber and a minnow, and you can catch fish like this. Be patient. You may not find them on your first tree. Keep trying, and eventually you're gonna hit some good fish. That was awesome.